All right, so this is not at all my first video on my YouTube channel, but I'm going to treat it as such. So basically, it's just going to be an introduction to who I am and etc. So my name is Seth. Well, on the internet, my name is McCullen Cook. My real name is Seth. But what I plan to accomplish in this lifetime is very imperceivable to many people. And in that sense, I mean that my goals and ambitions in life are, 100x, 1000x, 10,000x what people think is possible. Now, I could sit here and say I'm going to be a trillionaire, or I want to, do this and that, that's not necessarily what I mean when I say that. I just mean that the amount of lives I want to touch and the amount of accomplishments that I want to, have in this life. And, ultimately, I think a lot of people are dead. And even though they're not in the grave yet, they're just as dead and they're just as alive as they would be if they were 6 feet under this fucking ground. And, they come home, let's say from their 9 to 5. And I'm not dissing on you if you have a 9 to 5 per se, because I'm only 19. Like I'm 19 years old. I don't have bills to pay. I mean, this is not my fucking Christmas tree. You think that's my Christmas tree? No, it's not my fucking Christmas tree. I was born into, I'm not going to go into my childhood, right? But at the end of the day, I always had a meal to eat. I always had roof to sleep in. I always had clothes to wear. I always had Christmas under the tree, or presents under the tree. Like I wasn't in a very, vulnerable state my whole childhood. And in a lot of cases, that is very deadly. Andrew Carnegie, one of the greatest businessmen there is, or there was, because he's long gone, he said that the best thing for a child is to be born into poverty. Now, the people that are in poverty will not understand that. And people like me will not understand that because I've never been in true poverty. I've never been in true poverty. So even I don't understand it. Right, but the thing behind what it is that it's meaning or hinting towards behind it is when, in my opinion, and from my perspective, how I perceive this, because we all perceive things very differently. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us have opinions that are different. But a lot of times the reason that we have aligning opinions is because of a certain agenda pushed, yada, 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 right? But what I believe that he meant when he said such a thing was because there's nothing intrinsically wrong. When I say intrinsically, I don't fully understand intrinsically as the whole word. I just say it because I think it sounds good. I think it sounds smart. And I think I know what the meaning is. Basically from the surface, looking into a life like mine, right? Grew up not so, rich or not. I mean, we're far from fucking rich, but growing up in an okay area and then, working up in the ranks and then ending up in a nice area. I'm not going to downplay my life. I'm also not going to fucking upplay like we're, these millionaire billionaires. We are so far from that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing though. From the surface, there's nothing wrong with that. Making less than 6 figures or making right around 6 figures and living in a house that you can't afford and then buying shit you can't afford and doing all these things to impress people. Like, that's not intrinsically wrong. That's what millions upon millions of Americans fucking do. There's nothing from the outside looking in. If you look into somebody who's leasing new cars, lives in a nice house, has nice things, right? Doesn't fucking wear designer, doesn't even wear fucking Vineyard Vines or Lululemon, just, wears nice clothes, maybe some fucking Nike, maybe some this or that, Like, there's nothing wrong with that on the outside. But this is the thing, that is fucking worse than being born into poverty. And I'm not saying that I wish I was born into poverty, because I fucking promise you I do not. And I'm not saying that if you're in poverty, you don't have a reason to fucking complain, all right? Because I don't think anybody has a reason to fucking complain. But being born into poverty, there's something wrong with it. Even as a child, like I said, you intrinsically know. You just know. It's basically you just know there's something wrong. You just know you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You just know your parents, that are fucking telling you like, sorry, the Christmas is gonna, have to come in January, yada yada. When I have money, this stuff like when you're in that situation, you can look out and look in and be like, yeah, we're poor. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, this needs to change, right? But when you have all the necessities and you've never had to think twice about whether you're going to have those necessities, and then you're able to, on top of that, have good Christmases, have this, have that, there's nothing wrong. An outsider looking in is like, nothing wrong with that life. But when you're born into poverty as a child, right, something sparks inside of you because you know you shouldn't be where you are. You know that your parents are struggling, you shouldn't be there, right? But then there's also the converse that you adapt, or let's say adapt, or, get your parents' habits, right? You adapt their habits of spending, of doing this. So, there's definitely a converse, and I'm not saying that I wish to be born in poverty. I'm very blessed to be in the position that I am, but the best thing that could be, a best thing for a child is to be born into poverty, because they have something to rise up from. In the situation where I am, and many, many people aren't, their imagination, their drive is completely shattered. It's completely shattered. And I think that's a big problem. And it's not a big problem that people are able to live comfortable lives. It's a big problem that these parents and these role models are not showing their kid what's possible. They're not telling them that, hey, this is wrong. I shouldn't have to, I shouldn't be living like this. I should want more from my life. I shouldn't be coming home doing nothing. I should want more, right? But when you're a kid born into poverty, you realize the situation and you want more for your life. So, in my opinion, he's right. He's right. And I have no personal stuff to back it up. But I believe that when he said that, he was meaning something much deeper than a lot of people knew. From the surface, from people who are not open-minded, will look at that and have something to say about it. But I believe that what he said had a lot of meaning. I believe what he said was very powerful. But goal is, by January, you're not going to see this fucking Christmas tree. Not because they take it down, but because I'll be out of this fucking house. No diss to my parents, no diss. I love them all. But Seth's got to go. McCullen's got to go.